Hello, Red Wave. Welcome to Beware Bulldogs podcast. My name's Caleb Nail. That's Caleb Pletz. Today, different style of episode. Sorry, we were not live. I know we promised you live streams every Sunday. Life got in the way for me. Wasn't able to do it. But today we have Sacramento State recap plus New Mexico State preview all in one. Let's get to it. Enjoy. All right. You can follow Beware Bulldogs on YouTube, Beware Bulldogs, on X, Beware_Bulldogs, and on Instagram, Beware Bulldogs Podcast. You can also follow Mr. Pletz on X, CMP Go Dogs, and myself on X, Caleb_Nail. We just have fun on there. That's really it. I don't know if it's a worthy follow. It's going to be entertaining, but we have fun on there. All right, Caleb. Bulldogs beat the Sacramento State Hornets Saturday. You were there. Unfortunately, I was not able to make it. We had a rough weekend in the Nail family, but everybody's good. The Dogs. So this is how we're going to do it. We're going to share our opinions. We're going to go light on the recap, and then we'll dive into the preview. But I want to get what was it like Saturday in the stadium, season opener?
So initial thoughts, very good to be back in former Bulldog Stadium. I will echo what Coach Skipper said. It was nowhere close to half full at kickoff, which is a little disappointing. But same complaints as usual. It takes a long time to get in the stadium. Obviously everyone's trying to get in at 7 o'clock. So, that's just always going to be a problem. People just need to get there early. That's really the only solution there. But one of the other general takeaways I got was by the middle to the end of the first quarter, the stadium was pretty full. There's always going to be empty red seats, but despite being mostly full, the energy in the stadium wasn't really rocking. I'll be honest, and it was just kind of strange. There weren't really any scenarios where everyone's on their feet and, screaming and, rooting on the team. Obviously, in bursts it was, but, never like a big third down where everyone's going crazy and it's super loud. So just kind of a weird environment. I kind of credit that to Fresno State taking the early lead. Being up 25-3, everyone had kind of calmed down and felt like, okay, yeah, I think we got this under control. And, maybe the team felt that too, because, the Hornets fought back. So, just kind of a weird game and one of the slowest, longest games I have ever been to. We just kept looking over at the scoreboard and there's still 10 minutes left in the first quarter. And it was 15-3 or something silly like that. So, just a very weird game. So, we can break it down a little bit more.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I thought it was extremely slow. We were watching, all the family was together, and I couldn't believe it was the second quarter with about 10 minutes left, and I feel like it had been 2 hours since the game. It was 9 o'clock. It was a weird game, though. Overall, it was just a weird game. Let's talk about it. Fun start. First play, we go deep, Magdalena, touchdown. Then Jaden Mandel punches in for 2-point conversion, and we go up 8-0 like that. Thought, okay, we're going to be just fine. And we really continued to do that throughout the night. I'm looking at the play-by-play. First possession, one play, 75 yards. Then we they go down, kick a field goal. It's 8-3. Then all of a sudden we're up 25-3, and we had an interception. This is in the first half. And then we go punt, interception, end of half. And the half ends 25-10. So it started great, and then kind of died out. I want to talk about this quick start, though. I think it was 2 years ago, and maybe a little bit of last year. A lot of slow starts. Not this game, and especially against a team like this. Put them away early, get rid of their hope. Now, granted, they did come back later on in the game. They had hope. But I like the quick start. And what was your thoughts on the quick start?
I agree. It was a nice change and real big game for Magdalena. And I feel like it's good to see him finally get one of these games because he's been a guy who's just grinding in the program now for a long time and just paid his dues, and he's earned his way into that starting lineup, and he is just a stud. So to see Mikey finally be able to connect with him was huge. And I mean, even try not to be too critical here, but the deep balls from Mikey, weren't all that pretty, and Mac trying to adjust, completely stop, catch the ball, restart to run to the end zone was just kind of a funny first play. But credit to Coach McCann and Mikey for making the throw and calling that play, because like you said, we've kind of been in a rut of like, incomplete pass, 3-yard run, incomplete pass, punt, like on first series. So it was good to get that first touchdown and to see Mandel get in and punch in the 2-point conversion. So that was kind of cool too. But sloppy game, and just in terms of execution, it just seemed like running game wasn't doing anything. The short passing game really wasn't there. I mean, most of the offense was on deep balls to Mac, or maybe a 10 to 15 yard intermediate route to Jalen Moss on the sideline. So really strange. And the pessimist says there's no way this is going to translate once we get to conference play. And I guess the optimist says, well, look at how we're excelling, because that has not previously been a strength of this team.
Well, it's the hard part is I went back and rewatched it because, the momentum affects you in the game and things like that. I went back and rewatched some of it. And, just speaking on Mikey, just focusing on Mikey, he would make throws. Like he underthrows Mac. I mean, a lot of people are going to underthrow Mac because he's really fast. Mm-hmm. But he underthrew a lot of guys, or he threw it too high. Guys have to stop running. Then he made other throws where you're thinking that was a great throw. He put it in a tight area on the money. It's like, what is it's very inconsistent. Mm-hmm. And I should go back and watch it again and see what the offensive line was doing. I don't have a nice rewind play. I need that.
Well, I will say regarding the offensive line, I mean, Mikey was pressured the whole day. So I guess we can give him a little bit of a break there that he's rarely dealing with, a clean pocket. Mikey did step up in the pocket a couple of times. That's been a criticism of him, is always spinning out and trying to run toward the sideline. But he did step up in the pocket a couple of times, which was nice to see. And he did have a nice scramble for a first down too. So we did see his wheels a little bit. But unfortunately, another consistent thing for him, 2 games and 2 picks in each game. So that's not something we'd like to stay consistent. I mean, against Sac State, that we're more on bad throws rather than defense making a really good play.
I'd also say a lot of drop balls by the receivers. I mean, I shouldn't say not a lot, but that is also consistent where we are dropping balls that should be caught. I know Mac had one that stands out, kind of just hit him right in the face and then dropped it. There are a couple others. We got to have those. We got to help out Mikey. So I think the lack of consistency with the O-line, the lack of consistency with Mikey, the lack of consistency with the wide receivers, and then there really has the running game has been. I mean, we ran as a team for 155 yards against Sac State, but Malik had 54, Elijah Gilliam had 48. I mean, it hasn't been impressive. And I talked to been talking to a lot of people, and we had an extra day to talk about it, had all day today to talk about it. at work, and the talk around town is a lot of people are worried about this offense.
I think right now I am more worried about the offense than the defense. Touching briefly on the running game, I don't know about you, but Malik Sherrod doesn't seem to be 100%. Like, he doesn't seem as explosive as he was like at his peak last season. So obviously he's probably still nursing whatever injury limited him against Michigan. But I don't think the offensive line is really helping him or Gilliam trying to find a hole to run through. So obviously we can't put all the blame on the running backs, but yeah, he just doesn't seem 100%. I mean, against Sac State, I almost would have liked Gilliam to get more carries because it seemed at least he was running hard north-south and just kind of falling forward to 4 yards, where Malik was trying to get to a corner and ended up getting stuff more often than not.
There wasn't a whole lot schemed for Malik, it seemed like, to get out in space.
Mm-hmm.
Would you agree?
I think so. Yeah. Yeah. Obviously, I'm not a expert football analyst, but it didn't seem like he was had like the usual opportunities where he's in space, he can make a guy miss and make a big play happen.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about defense. CV led the team in tackles. He looked awesome.
Mm-hmm. I
really like him. I'm so happy he's healthy this year. We saw a lot of Phoenix Jackson. Saw a lot of Kosi Agina. Any praises, anything that you notice about the defense, positive and or negative?
Positives, yeah, I'll echo about Tuasivi Nomura. He's been all over the field, and easy to see him with his hair flopping around. So cool, intimidating presence on the field, but big guy eating up tackles, which is important. We did see a lot of Phoenix Jackson. I think he, like, snap count wise, he played more than the Malachi. So a little surprising there, but at the same time, been kind of waiting for Phoenix Jackson to really get his opportunity to shine here. I mean, he's a really gifted athlete, and he made a lot of good plays on defense. I think another interesting note was not really using any of the nickelbacks. I know that RJ Regan was hurt, so he wasn't available, but for most of the game, for the nickelback position, it was either a corner like either Alzelian or Julian Neal, or they had a third safety in, mostly Kosi. So kind of strange there. And I guess the nickelback position was one that we pointed out as being thin coming in here. So yeah, if there's an injury and the coaching staff doesn't have a whole lot of confidence in the guys behind them, then they feel pretty good about the top three corners and 4 safeties at that. So kind of an interesting personnel note there. But otherwise, the defensive line got good pressure, but I don't think that translated into any sacks. I should have those stats up here, but it was just kind of strange that we had 0 sacks. So yeah, a lot of pressures, but not able to translate that into actual sacks. So credit to their quarterbacks for getting rid of the ball before getting into too much trouble.
Yeah, I really like CV against the run and short passing game, but to be honest, I mean, we gave up 30 to Michigan, who looks really bad after playing Texas. I mean, we knew they weren't going to beat Texas, but I thought they'd do a little bit better. Their offense looks really poor. And then a Sac State team whose offense is supposed to be high powered, but we did give up 30 to them. Now their starting quarterback, Caden Bennett, they pulled him. I think he got injured. And Carson Conklin came in, threw 37 passes. And, every once in a while, Carson looked pretty good. I mean, he threw for 219, 3 touchdowns, and no picks. By the way, I should say Mikey threw for 358, 2 touchdowns, and 2 picks. But, it was on both sides of the ball where I see plays where they look really good. Like, okay, this is the team. If they play like this every snap, we beat Michigan. Then there's other times where they're playing very, inconsistent and the opposite of good football. They're playing bad football, and we looked like we were going to lose to Sac State at one point. So, I don't know what to think of this team yet. I don't know, man.
Yeah, there's definitely still a lot to be seen here, and it is kind of tough to compare. I think Michigan still has a very elite defense, so going up against that team is going to be tough. And then Sac State, FCS opponent, we really don't know how that compares to the Mountain West competition. So, this coming week against New Mexico State, Conference USA, a little bit step up in competition, I would say. It's still a possibility for Fresno State to have some trouble with the Aggies, even though they're a completely new team. But I'm getting ahead of ourselves. We still need to talk about special teams against Sac State, because we had some ups and had some downs. So Jalen Moss fumbled the first one, and just like seeing him in the stadium fumble that one, I could see that fumble coming, because it just seemed like they were forcing it, because I think they saw something they could exploit with Sac State. And he should have called a fair catch on that one, because it was very, very tricky timing there. But then on the very next one to take it to the house, I guess there's some redemption there. So that was cool. And I think it's been a while, maybe have we had a punt return since Nico against Boise in the conference championship game? That was the last one that I can remember.
I think that's the last one.
So, yeah.
No, it was once again, we're talking about inconsistent, right? I mean, his first one, he muffs. I get it. It's your first one, but you learn from that, and then you take it back all the way. Very inconsistent. There's the play that beats Michigan. Here's another play where we're giving Sacramento State opportunities to beat us. So, and I shouldn't even say we're giving opportunities to Sacramento State to beat us. We're beating ourselves with things like that. And 2 interceptions for Mikey. And, it's the inconsistency makes people question, are we ready for Mountain West Conference play? I have faith in the coaching staff and our players who are experienced and have been there before that we will be ready. But I think we have to prove it. I don't think we've proven that we are ready to compete with Boise State. Boise State, you say what you want about Oregon, and I do believe that they are probably overrated, but they're competing with Oregon. They are scoring a ton of points. Like, we got to be ready for those teams. And I'm not looking ahead. I'm just saying we got to handle our business against the Sacramento States of the world.
Totally. Which, you could say we did. Fresno State wins by 2 touchdowns. I never doubted the fact that we were going to win this game. Like, it never really felt like it was going to swing in Sac State's favor. So, a win's a win, and there's no pictures in the box score. So, I think they were just thankful to get out of there with a win and, move on to the next week.
Player of the game. Is there any question here who the player of the game is?
Definitely has to be Mac. I mean, that's a career game that I'm sure he's going to remember and tell his kids about forever.
7 receptions, 235 yards, and a touchdown for Mac. That was huge.
Huge.
I don't think he won Mountain West Player of the Week, though, with that.
It's just crazy. Yeah, so credit to Jalen Moss. He's got the Special Teams Player of the Week honors. But, I did not see any mention of Mac, and I don't know who won it in his place. But, yeah, obviously someone had a bigger performance than that, because that's a really stellar outing by Mac.
I'm guessing it had to be Jainty, right? I don't know. I didn't see. But, yeah, great game from Mac. What do you think was the play of the game?
Probably just for excitement, electricity, Jalen Moss punt return. That was a big play, and I think I'll go with that.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with the very first play of the game. Touchdown to Magdalena. I think set the tone early. You could also, I was thinking about giving it to the 2-point conversion.
Okay.
Just that kind of, like, yeah, we scored, but then here's us really setting the tone. We're going to hand it to our quarterback who's going to run it right through you. By the way, Joshua Wood did get in the game and run for a touchdown as well. This is 2 games in a row. They have a package for Josh. What did you think about the package and what you saw from Joshua Wood back there.
I'm glad that both guys are getting some time on the field. I think Mikey's inconsistency is only going to put more pressure on Mikey and maybe even the coaching staff too, to maybe see what those younger guys have in store. And so, having these special packages, I think, are an important first step there. Obviously, I'd love for Mikey to get things cleaned up and be the leader and captain that he is for the rest of the season. But it is nice to have a couple guys who we know are willing to go in there and run hard and try to get some yards out there. So I'm sure that there's going to be some trick play with Joshua Wood here soon. I know there was a couple plays where he was lined up at wide receiver and he just ran a route and looked like, okay, we're going to try some sort of like reverse or double pass. But obviously they're just kind of setting that up for the future. But good to see those guys out there. And I think that the future of Fresno State quarterbacks looks pretty bright.
Yeah. Some team stats for everybody. We were 8 for 17 on third downs. We did hold Sac State on third down 4 for 14. So, defense pretty good. Offense need to be better. 8 for 17 on third down. And then turnover-wise, we had three total turnovers. We did force 3. We only had 4 penalties. And then possession-wise, we held the ball for 10 more minutes than Sac State. So, and that was the other thing, Caleb, that I was looking at and noticed is that we never got away from the run.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even though we haven't been successful with it the past 2 weeks, we're not going away from it. Malik carried the ball 22 times. Gilliam carried the ball 12 times. And that's good because we still need to keep the defense on their toes. So, I'm happy that McCann's getting away from it.
Yeah, I think that's showing some discipline from McCann. I think, if I'm calling the plays on NCAA video game, I'm just abandoning it, and we're just airing it out 5 wide every time. So obviously, there's a reason why he's the one getting paid to call the plays.
Yeah. All right, Caleb, let's move into the preview. Let's talk New Mexico State. New Mexico State had a very good game against Liberty. They put up a fight. What was the final score there? 30-24. They lost 30-24. It was at in Las Cruces at Aggie Memorial Stadium. They were in it the whole game. So this team is good. That Liberty team is pretty good. Parker Awad is their quarterback. I'm going to run through some names for you guys because we're having trouble getting a hold of people for the get to know. Parker Awad is the quarterback. He went 9 for 22 for 158 yards and 2 touchdowns against Liberty. He was sacked 4 times. Seth McGowan is their leading rusher, or was their leading rusher against Liberty. Mike Washington was right behind him. And then their receiver core, Monty Watkins. Seth McGowan actually led the team in receptions, but Monty Watkins had the long and for 64 and a touchdown. And then you have PJ Johnson, Cordell David, TJ Pride also catching the ball. Defensively, New Mexico State looked pretty strong. You held a pretty good Liberty offense in Caden Salter to 30 points. They had 2 sacks, no interceptions. But this team is tough. What are your thoughts after seeing New Mexico State play a tight one against Liberty?
Well, it definitely performed better than expectations. And this is a team with a lot of turnover, completely different team that Fresno State faced at the end of last year. Their coach stepping away, most of their team transferring. Their quarterback from last year is starting for Vanderbilt in the SEC. So a bit of a step up there. So completely new squad. And I think that their offense, I don't have huge expectations for. Their defense is tough. Interesting note, Matt Lawson, former Bulldog, is found his way to New Mexico State. Somehow still has eligibility. He had played 4 years for the Dogs, and then I think last year is at Northwestern, and finishing up in Las Cruces now. So he and Abe Montano are the, Bulldog representatives. What was that?
So there's one more Bulldog.
Oh, who is it?
No, Abe Montano.
Oh,
Sorry.
Abe, yeah. So, yeah, we'll reuniting with a couple former Dogs, but yeah, I don't really expect their passing attack to be, what does in the Dogs, which I think is probably going to work in Fresno State's favor. I think that if we can really key in on a team's running game and make them throw, I think that that's going to be a key for a pretty strong game for Fresno State, just kind of mirroring what they did against Michigan. I know that score was a little lopsided, but I think if we can really shut down the run and make a quarterback pass that really is not proficient there, or at least hasn't shown it so far, I think that that's going to be a good recipe for Fresno State defense.
I agree. I guess I should hit the. We should jump right into what's going to make us sweat, what's going to make us dance, and get to the keys to the game. All right, Caleb, what is the one thing that could go wrong for the Dogs or right for the Aggies that is going to make you sweat?
As an expert on sweat and sweating, I may as well be a sweat scientist.
So there's a lot of things that come to mind when we bring up sweating here. I think that if the defensive front for New Mexico State is able to overpower the Fresno State offensive line and just cause disruption, I think that that's going to be worrisome for this team. So obviously, I don't know how strong the secondary is for New Mexico State. I think that that's really one of the advantages Fresno State had over Sac State is our receivers were just so much quicker than their secondary. So they were able to get separation, and I mean by like 4 or 5 yards, be open. So easier throws for Mikey to make. So if the defensive front is maybe a step up from last week and it's more of the same with struggling to establish the running game, I'm going to be sweating because it's going to be another long game for Fresno State offense.
Yep. The line is the reason I'm going to sweat. McCarg went out with an injury towards the end of the game. Mose was out, came back in against Sac State. So if we're not healthy and we're giving up hurries and sacks, it's going to be tough, man. And we talk about inconsistencies against Sac State. They didn't really. Caden Salter tore them apart, and I think Mikey can do the same, but they have to give him time. And I agree with you. They're not going to be able to guard our wide receivers. So I would say what's going to make me sweat is offensive line play if we can't hold it up like you. What do the Dogs need to do for us to dance? This is the CNC Football Factory, Caleb. So
everybody dance now.
Everybody dance now. What's going to make you dance?
So I'm going to focus on defense for this because this is the side of the ball we feel most confident in, but we haven't seen them play, whistle to whistle a full complete game. I've felt pretty strongly about the performances in the first halves in the first 2 games, and then either letting off the gas or running out of steam, whatever, in the second half, kind of letting the other teams back in the game. So, I mean, if we can hold New Mexico to 1 score, let's say 7 points or less, I guess that could even be 2 field goals. So 7 points or less, I am dancing because I do want to see this defense put up a complete performance. And, they get to sleep in their own beds all this week, back-to-back home games, so they should be well rested. I'm sure the coaching staff is, getting on them about, really playing a complete game. So that's my expectation here. Dogs give up less than 7. I'm dancing.
That would be huge. That was mine against Sac State, was under double digits. Didn't quite happen, but I would like us. I'm going to dance if we can cover the spread, and that is 20 points. We did that against Michigan, but we lost. And remember, we don't. Even if we get these right and lose, we don't dance. But they have to win by 20.5. Yeah, and I'll be dancing. I'm just going to keep it to that. I think it's very possible.
Yeah.
a lot of things have to go right though for that to happen. And when I was first thinking what I'm going to pick, I was thinking clean game for Mikey because we haven't had that yet. But it's not just Mikey. It's offensive line, wide receivers catching the ball, Mikey making good decisions, and then defense getting stops. And I would like to see our defense force more turnovers. We forced 2, I believe, in Sacramento State. I'd like to see Dean Clark more. I'd like to see Cam Brocka more. I want to see our safety. I want to see them in the midst making highlights. I haven't really seen that yet. I want to see Alzillian Hamilton. We've seen Cam Lockridge. We see Tua Seavey and our D line. Foreman, he forced a fumble. We see the guys that we're supposed to see making highlight plays. I want to see the guys I'd mentioned go make those highlight plays. So, and if they do that, then I think we easily win by 20 plus. Now, the question is, if we win by 20, exactly 20, do I have to dance?
I guess that's a push and a refund. So I think that would be no. Then you just have to dance twice on the next time. next time it hits.
You mentioned some keys to the game earlier. Do you have any others that you'd like to add?
Yeah, I got a couple more. I think you mentioned it briefly, but Mikey playing a clean game. I'd like to see a 0 interception game, and that should be very doable. Just not making any errant throws, and obviously, if it's a tip ball that the receiver should have caught, that there really should be a separate stat for that, like a receiver interception, and not put that on the quarterback. But I think seeing Mikey have a clean game, throw 25 for 32 for 240 and a couple touchdowns, I think that would be a good day. That's maybe factoring in that we're not hitting a bunch of long bombs. So maybe closer to 300 on the yards there if Matt can get a couple explosive plays. But I kind of would like to see just a more subdued game. Just pick your spots, get the short throws, get some sustained drives, and give the defense a break too, because that was kind of the downside of against Sac State. Some of the really quick possessions, defense was tired because they weren't getting much of a break on the sideline. So just a consistent game from Mikey, no turnovers. That's got to be a key, and just kind of establish that for the rest of the season, because that's obviously important every game.
Yeah, I agree. I think I listed everything I want to see, but I think the main key to the game is, I'm with you, no turnovers. That's really the only reason that other teams have been in games.
Mm-hmm.
We lose to Michigan with a couple turnovers. We keep Sac State around with a couple turnovers. We cut out those turnovers. These are completely different ball games.
Mm-hmm.
More turnovers, not just for Mikey, but Jalen muffed a punt. You can't have those things. And I think that was one of my keys to the game for Sac State, just being fundamentally sound. We weren't really fundamentally sound. So we can keep that. Let's be fundamentally sound. Let's not turn over the ball. And let's execute the play correctly.
Yeah.
So
how about this question? What number of rush yards for Malik are you happy with in this game? What should be the minimum? Because the last couple games, he's been kind of hovering around 50 or so. So, do you want him to see triple digits, or is that even realistic for this offensive line?
I want to see Malik rest, and I want to see Gilliam run for triple digits.
That's a good answer. I think I would agree with you on that.
Gilliam is more than capable of carrying that entire backfield. And like what you said at the beginning of this episode, Malik, and we talked about it before we went live, Malik just doesn't look like himself.
Mm-hmm.
And my hot take for the season was Malik's going to lead the country in all-purpose yards. It's not going to happen, okay? It's not going to happen. So let's just rest. Let's get 100, and let Elijah go to work. And Donaldson, I don't know if they're going to try and redshirt him or not.
Yeah.
but he's played in one game already. But we did see Arsenault get a carry. So, I mean, Gilliam and Arsenault, they can handle that. Let's let Malik's ankle heal. So 0 rushes for Malik and triple digits for Elijah.
Love it.
I pulled up the weather. I didn't know if you had it, Caleb.
I do have it. It should be a nice little change from this whole summer. I think hopefully today was our last day in triple digits. It should be cooling down a little bit Saturday. Right now the high is 94. And should be sunny all day. So it should be a beautiful day for some tailgating and for Bulldog football. But just a little bit cooler than this past week because it was definitely warm tailgating and at the beginning of the game in the stadium.
This game is also 7:30 kickoff.
A little bit later, so hopefully that suits everyone else better too with the tailgating. So they really should just tell everyone that the game starts at 7 and then by 7:30 it's actually kicking off.
It's also being aired on True TV /HBO Max. If you're not able to make the game, and I hope you have a subscription to HBO Max. But I hope people can find it. I mean, it's such a late game. I mean, True TV, it's national television, right?
It is, but I mean, I'm thinking I'm still old school. I have actual cable, and True TV is not where all of the sports are usually located. So if you're scrolling through your guide, you're probably not gonna see it there. But obviously, we have a lot of other sources to tell us, what channel things are on. So it should be okay. But yeah, new channel for Mountain West this year. And shout out to all the streaming services. I know Boise's game last week was on Peacock exclusively, so I wouldn't have even been able to watch it because I don't have that.
Same.
But yeah, home game. Obviously, we do recommend listening along to the Bulldog Sports Network with Paul, Pat, and Cam. They got the good insight that is always much better than whatever studio talent is sent there.
Caleb, the spread, like I said, is 20 to the Bulldogs. Give me your thoughts on the spread and your final score predictions.
I do not have confidence in our team to be able to pull ahead and win by 3 touchdowns. I think that somewhere between 14 and 17 points is probably more likely for a victory, which I do think we are going to win. But I don't have confidence yet. Got to show me, and that's why we don't gamble, because I don't think we're going to cover this, but I do think the Dogs should still win. I do expect the offense to have another good showing, and hopefully mix in another defensive touchdown or defense special teams touchdown. So I'll jump right into final score prediction. I'm gonna go 38-17. So I guess that's what 18 or wait. Hang on, that's 21 points. I just picked us to cover. Hang on, it's late. I'm still working on some math here.
It is very late.
38-21 is my pick.
Okay, I'm going 34-21.
Okay,
so we're winning.
Right.
The Dogs should win this game. There's no reason. We're gonna. Everything I've heard, everything I've seen coming out of media and practice, this team is getting better. I just, every Monday I hear we're having a good practice, and the coaches say the right things. But now I'm ready to see it put all together on the field. Let's cut down the inconsistencies. We are the better team. We are much better team. We should win. There's no reason we shouldn't cover the spread, but I haven't seen anything to believe it yet. So I hope they prove me wrong.
Totally. And I think we should definitely expect Fresno State to win. I think all time there's been 20 meetings between the two teams. Fresno State's 19-1. Only loss I think was in 2011, which was somewhat recent. So Dogs definitely have the historical advantage against the Aggies.
Anything else that I missed on the preview, Caleb, for this?
I think we just about covered it. It's another non-conference game that, in the grand scheme of the season, doesn't impact our chances at getting to the conference championship. There's only 7 of those games this year, so I could definitely still see this as coaching staff tune-up game. Like, hey, let's still kind of tinker with the playbook a little bit. Let's see what we want to implement, and even still figuring out personnel. I mean, we've seen a lot of guys being cycled in on defense, which is good because we're keeping guys fresh. But it could be a tune-up game, and they're just coaching staff is concerned with winning by 1 point, so they obviously don't care about covering a spread. But I would expect this to be a solid Fresno State performance, and hopefully wire-to-wire better game for the Fresno State defense.
I agree. Let's run through the Mountain West scoreboard from last week and then preview this week. Caleb, let's go. I'll try to move through quick. Oregon beat Boise State 37-34, and this game was insane. Jainty, 25 carries, 192 yards, 3 touchdowns. The kid is crazy. You did not get to watch it, but crazy game. USC played Utah State in the Coliseum in LA. USC won 48-0. Miller Moss looked very good. Not a great showing from Utah State. UNLV continues their winning ways. They beat Utah Tech 72-14.
That is a big number on the football scoreboard. So looking ahead a couple weeks, I am definitely concerned about our matchup against UNLV because their offense seems very capable. So granted, I believe in Fresno State defense, so it's going to be a very fun matchup.
Yeah. Ricky White, 5 receptions, 111 yards, 3 touchdowns. Wyoming loses to Idaho, 17-13.
Got the Caleb Neal curse of the team to look out for.
That's right. Wyoming looks terrible. They got blasted by ASU. And, hey, Idaho hanging with Oregon and then beating Wyoming.
Yeah.
Hey, okay, next game, Caleb. I did get this right. San Jose State defeats Air Force 17-7. Air Force was favored in this. This is the one thing people should have listened to. I said San Jose State's going to win. Nick Nash will have a big game. Hey, 7 receptions, 90 yards, and a touchdown. Take that from Nick Nash and the win. Yep. Air Force has not impressed me this year.
No, definitely a rebuilding year for the Falcons.
Yeah. Colorado State beat Northern Colorado 38-17. Bounce back game after their beatdown in Texas. Nevada loses to Georgia Southern 20-17. Both teams went scoreless in the fourth. All Nevada had to do was score once, and they would have maybe sent it to overtime. And then San Diego State lost to Oregon State 21-0. I did watch the highlights to this game. O'Neal, their quarterback, had an opportunity to score, fumbled on like the 2. And they didn't lose Oregon State 21-0. This week, UNLV gets Kansas. Caleb, this game could be fun.
Totally, yeah. A couple of good offenses too, and Kansas is on the up and up, and is a team that Fresno State plays next season. So interesting matchup there. Should be a fun game, and on Friday night, so should be a lot of eyeballs on it.
Yeah, Kansas did lose to Illinois last week, and they're not ranked anymore. And then next year, they're losing their quarterback, their running back, so we won't get them. So that's pretty good. But yeah, this game is going to be. The over/under on this is 57.5. Who do you have winning?
UNLV's looked really good. Granted, it's at Kansas, so that's a bit to travel. I think that they're playing. I don't think they're playing home games in their own stadium this year because they're like completely redoing their stadium. So I think I will take UNLV on the road. I think that they have the offensive firepower to make it happen.
I am too. Go Rebels. Nevada travels to Minneapolis to play Minnesota Gophers. Minnesota's 16.5-point favorite. I don't think Nevada stands a chance here, but who knows?
I think they keep it close. Nevada's been a little feisty this year and kept it close against Georgia Southern, and Georgia Southern took Boise to the wire too. So if you're kind of comparing games there, I think that they should have a chance. I don't really think Minnesota is that explosive on offense. So probably a lower scoring game, but Minnesota at home should have the edge.
Yeah. Utah State gets Utah in Logan. Cam Rising did, I think, break his hand.
Poor guy. Did he really? Oh, man. Another redshirt year for Cam. He's going to be in college forever.
I'm not sure if he broke it or if he just injured it. I thought I read he broke it. I could be wrong. You're gonna have to double check me on that. The Utes are 21.5-point favorite over Utah State Aggies. Even with Cam Rising out, I mean, they didn't look very good against Baylor with Cam Rising out, but I think Utah's good enough to beat Utah State.
Yeah, they should handle their business. Utah State is on a rebound year after their coach was dismissed. So, give me a long year for the Aggies.
Next, we have San Jose State is hosting Kennesaw State, the new FBS Division I team. I like San Jose State in this one. I have no reason for me to doubt them against Kennesaw.
Great.
Hawaii travels to Texas to play Sam Houston. I should have done this earlier. Boom, there you go. They are 4.5-point underdogs. I like Hawaii in this one.
I don't know anything about Sam Houston. So I think I will take the home team. Hawaii, that's just anytime they're traveling, like that's just a brutal travel day. So I will take Sam Houston at home.
New Mexico travels to Jordan-Hare, Auburn, Alabama to play Auburn after Auburn just lost to Cal, which I'm very excited for. Every time a SEC team loses, especially the West Coast team, I get excited. By the way, Arizona State beat Mississippi State. But any chance New Mexico as a 28-point dog, do you think they have any chance against Auburn?
They sure do have a chance. I mean, last season, New Mexico State beat Auburn, so they've just been hunting around for a beating from the state of New Mexico. But I think that from what I've seen of New Mexico this season, they don't have much of a defense. They're going to give up a lot of points. So as long as Auburn can keep up, they should be able to handle them. But would not be surprised if another letdown game, or does the team respond and is angry after getting embarrassed by Cal. So I think I will probably still pick Auburn to win at home, but I wouldn't be surprised if New Mexico covers and or wins.
Yeah, I actually think Cal is a better team than Auburn, and so it didn't surprise me when they won. And this, they're going to be determined to put a beat down on New Mexico, but I don't think they realize Devin Dampier, he's a legit quarterback and he can move. They're going to have to be on their A game to stop him. Air Force travels to Waco to play Baylor. Baylor's a 15.5-point favorite here. Like I said, not impressed by Air Force. I'll take Baylor in this one.
Agreed. Not enough offense from Air Force to keep up.
Yeah. The fun one this week, Colorado travels to Fort Collins, plays Colorado State. Kim, I don't know how you feel about Colorado. We haven't talked about Colorado privately, but I like Colorado, and because they've made college football fun. Like the storylines they bring a lot of talk to college football, whether it be bandwagon or not. I kind of enjoy it, just the banter and things like that.
Yeah, and Colorado has turned themselves into like the New England Patriots and New York Yankees, just like everyone or most of the country hates them, which is kind of fun because I guess before it was Alabama or whoever the best team in the country is. So it's kind of fun. Hopefully there's no punches thrown in the game. I don't know if Colorado State is, I guess as strong this year as maybe we expected coming into the season. So Colorado should be able to handle their business, but that's a rivalry game, so you never really know what's going to happen between those two.
I mean, no one thought Colorado State was going to hang around last year with them.
Mm-hmm.
So I do think Colorado's a 7.5 point favorite here. Colorado State's going to get up for this game. I don't think Colorado's going to allow them to stick around after what happened to them against Nebraska. Colorado O-line still struggling, but yeah, Colorado State they're not living up to the hype that I thought they were going to have around them this time early in the season. And Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter are freaky good. Even though they lost to Nebraska and Raiola looked amazing. Both of those players are very good still. Wyoming hosts BYU. This could be another bad one. I think Wyoming's going to be 0-3, but BYU 10-point favorite.
Yeah, I have no interest in watching this game. BYU should win easily.
And then last but not least, San Diego State travels to Berkeley to play Cal. Cal after a big win at Auburn. I like Cal here.
Yeah, especially after that win, and San Diego State struggling to put up some points against Oregon State, so should be an easy win for Cal.
Yeah, and then we have, that game's at 7:30, and then our game also starts at 7:30. So you have San Diego State, Cal on ESPN, and then New Mexico State, Fresno State on True TV. It should be fun. Both. I hate to play two West Coast games at the same time and compete with them, but games are on. So that's all that matters. And Fresno State's going to put on a show. I guarantee it. All right, man. That's going to do it for us. Everybody, thank you for tuning in. Sorry we didn't have a live stream. We will have one I want to give you a promise, and I try not to promise too often, but I promise you we will be, unless something crazy happens like last weekend, but we'll be here Sunday. If not, then, and you don't know about it, it's because you're not following us on X. I put it up there. So make sure you go follow us, beware_Bulldogs. By the way, I should also mention, shout out to our sponsors, Givoli Winery and ManageX.net. If you want wine, if you need help managing your properties, wine at Givoli Winery, and you need help managing your properties, head over to ManageX.net. Please do that. They are supporters of Fresno State Athletics, and Beware of Bulldogs. So we are thankful for them, and we ask that you guys go support them. Any last words, Caleb?
I think we covered it. Hopefully the Dogs get back into the swing of things, and hopefully Beware of Bulldogs gets back into the swing of things this week too. So thanks, guys, for sticking around, and go Dogs.
For God so loved the world, he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him will not perish, but have eternal life. Go Dogs, baby.
Go Dogs.